Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Melissa, and today's video is a wish list plant video. I love wish list videos. I love seeing what other people are interested in, and I love looking at all the pretty plants, of course. So I get to share mine with you today. My wish list video last year, I think I knocked pretty much all of them off, which is just crazy to think about. I keep a running wish list on my little note icon app thing, and sometimes when I come across a plant on social media that looks really pretty or I think I might want, if I'm thinking about it, I'll add it in there. And sometimes I go back later and I'm like, oh, why did I add this on? Oh, I don't really want that. I'm not interested in that. It ends up being like a big mix of plants. So I separated it into plant genus, so it'd be a little bit easier to go through, but they're not in any particular order. And like I said, some of these plants I may not even keep on here or will be interested in for next year. So yeah, I hope that sounds good to you. Let's go ahead and get started here. I'm gonna start with a philodendron because I have zero. I have zero philodendron on my wish list. I'm not really into philodendron anymore, and it's so sad. I did downsize a lot of philodendron this year, big velvety phyllos. I do love them, I really do, but I've grown out of philodendron. I'm being more intentional and more selective with some of my picks and what I'm actually bringing into my collection. So let's move on to Monstera. Monstera is my favorite plant genus, and I only have one Monstera on the wish list for next year, and that is Monstera Double Monster. I love this Monstera. I feel like you either love it or you hate it, and I'm on the love it. I think it's so cool and unique, and it's one that I will own. I will bring it in at some point. I don't think it will be next year because they're still very expensive. I'm sure it's already in TC. I recently got a tissue culture of Monstera bulbasaur over Black Friday, and so I'm excited to see that one grow out. I will say for next year though, if that one does not grow right, if it's slow, if it's just wonky, I will put that back on my wish list because I do want that Monstera in my collection. So I hope the TC grows well, fingers crossed. But yeah, Monstera Double Monster, that would have to come way down before I think about splurging on that one. It is very unique though. I love the fenestrations on that plant. The look of it is just so cool. I love the minty tone to it as well. I think the coloring is what I like about it too. I love anything mint. But yeah, I will have this Monstera in my collection at some point. It's such a cool plant and I absolutely love the way that it looks. So yeah, that one I need to have at some point. All right, let's move on to Anthurium. I have 3 on my wish list, not a lot. I do still really love Anthurium. They're just not a plant genus I'm obsessed with at the moment. I was earlier this year though. So the first one on here is a King of Spades hybrid. It's a butterfly. So King of Spades is one of my favorite Anthuriums in my collection. I love that plant so much. And I think the hybrid, the butterfly, is so pretty. I saw one recently, was it on Instagram? I think it was on Instagram. I don't remember who posted it or who owns it, but I just thought it was the most prettiest plant ever. I love it where it's like flat, like the sinus, it's flat all the way across and then it just comes down and you see that beautiful like veining all the way down. Ugh, it's so, so pretty. Oh my gosh, look at that one. It's so pretty. But you get an idea of what I'm talking about. Yeah, I would love to own that one day for sure. I think it's the leaf shape with the veining is what makes this plant so pretty to me. So I don't know if and when this plant would end up in my collection, but I would love to have it just because I love regular King of Spades. So I know I'll absolutely fall in love with that one. And then next up is a King Clarinervium. So I love regular Clarinervium, and I did find one at a big box store recently. I don't know exactly what kind of Anthurium it is, but it does have a similar look and leaf shape. Maybe I won't need this one, but I think the King Clarinervium is really pretty as well. Oh yeah, look at that image. Oh, it has smaller leaves, but I think the veining and the heart shape of the leaf is stunning. It is so, so pretty. So that one is a must-have. I feel like I need this one in my collection. But yeah, that is beautiful. That whole image there, stunning. The veining, the silver, the way that it looks. That is a beautiful Anthurium. So one day I will own that plant, hopefully. Okay, the last Anthurium on my wish list is not a specific type of Anthurium. I just want a variegated Anthurium, like another one. I have a crystallinum hybrid, which is doing okay. It's not really growing that much, but I have to give my Anthuriums, I think, more light and stuff over there. But I want one specifically that has a pink emergent. I love the pink emergence on variegated Anthurium. The one that I have kind of comes in more of, not really an orange, like a brown, like a dark brown, and you can't really see the variegation until it burns in. But I want one that has a lot of pink. Oh, look at that one. Oh, see, something like that that has pink. That is beautiful. This is a pink variegated Anthurium Hot Barbie. I have no idea what that is. That is beautiful right there. But you get the idea. I just want something that has a lot of pink when it comes in, and I would love the pink to stay if it does burn in, because I have more of like the yellow variegation, and I would love a pink one for an Anthurium. But yeah, that one is beautiful. That's exactly what I would want with an Anthurium. I don't think the leaf shape or anything really matters that much. I just want the characteristics of the pink. But yeah, that is beautiful. Yeah, that's it for Anthurium. Okay, let's move on to my others. So I have the most of Alocasia, Begonia, and Hoya. So my others are, I just have a few. They don't really fit into a specific plant genus. They're kind of just a mixed bunch. One of them is a variegated money tree, and I want one that has the white variegation, kind of more on the white side. I have seen these with kind of mottled variegation. I have seen them mostly white. I have seen them with some yellow variegation. So I used to have a money tree back when I first started collecting plants, like way back in the day, and I had it even up until last year, I believe. And I had moved it and it got a lower light and it didn't like that. And I had tried to propagate the base because it had started to rot, and it just didn't do well at all after that, and the little propagation didn't make it. I unfortunately didn't replace that money tree, but I would love, I think, a variegated one at some point, and I could change my mind. I think money trees are really pretty. Oh, that one is very pretty. This one's beautiful. It has the green in the center and then the white is on the outside. So I think something like that versus the one that has the splash. I do think they're very beautiful, so I'll have to see if I'm thinking about it next year, if I want to bring it into my collection, or maybe the year after even. But yeah, it's one that I think would be pretty cool to own. Another one on my other list is, I don't even know how to pronounce it, but it's the other name for it is a sensitive plant, but it's the variegated. And the reason why I want this one, because it's so pretty. It's so cool too. I love the pink on it, all the tones of pink. I almost bought this one this year, but I didn't. I held off. But I do really want it because, I mean, come on, look at that. That is so pretty. The pink is very stunning, and I feel like it looks like it holds up well too on the plant. But yeah, that's one that I think I would want to bring into my collection sooner than later. I don't know anything about sensitive plants though. Like, I've never owned a green one or anything, but the pink on that is just too pretty. It's really pretty. Yeah, that is a beautiful. Someone that I'm possibly thinking about getting, and that just reminds me, oh, I'm adding another one right now to this list. Whoops. The one that I'm adding is a oxalis, a variegated one. So this was one that I was going to get this year as well, and I didn't, and I held off. I don't know why I took it off my wish list. I have a regular purple oxalis, and that lives on my patio year round. I love oxalis plants. The purple blooms are beautiful. It's actually still alive, even though it's frosted a couple of times already this winter here. It did go dormant last year, and it grew back from the little tubers. Because I like my regular purple one so much, I feel like the variegated one would be really cool to add too. Maybe they could both live out there in the spring. But I do think I want to bring that in at some point. And then the last one on my list is, again, this is like the variegated Anthurium, but I don't have a specific plant in mind. It's some type of pink aglaonema. I have been toying with getting an aglaonema recently, but I have a specific pink in mind. I do think I like the lighter pink ones more than the darker pink ones, and there's hot pink ones. There's so many freaking varieties of Aglaonema. I've never owned an Aglaonema though, so that part I feel like intimidates me a little bit because I've never tried to grow one. But they're so pretty and tropical looking. I think there's so many beautiful varieties. So I feel like I would really have to sit down and figure out which one I like the most on the coloring. But I do think I like the light pink ones more. But who knows? The dark pink ones are very pretty too. They're all beautiful. I don't really think I could go wrong with any of them. I just don't really care for the more green looking ones. I want one that's either mostly pink or all pink. Oh, that one's really pretty. Oh, there's too many varieties. I need to stop looking. So the only ones left are Begonia, Alocasia, and Hoya. So let's do a Begonia next. I still really love Begonia, and I don't want to bring a ton into my collection. And so these are like maybes. They're not like I must have these, but I feel like they would be pretty cool to own at some point in my collection. The first one up here is a Jenny, and I used to have a Jenny and it unfortunately died. It rotted. It was growing all pink or white leaves, and I tried to cut it back a couple of times and it just didn't really regrow. It did spike a couple new growth points that ended up rotting off, and one of the growth points that came in was all white. And so the stem just kind of rotted away. So if I do decide that I want to try again, I'll get one that's more full so it will have more green to grow well and do better. But I do think it's a really pretty begonia. Again, I love the pink on that plant, and I love angel wing begonias. All right, next up is one that I found this year, and I don't know how to pronounce this one. It's Solimutata variegated. I came across one again recently on, I think, Instagram. I saw one and it made me like instantly like write it on my wish list because I had seen it earlier this year and I didn't know what it was, and I'm like, oh, that's a pretty begonia, and then I never added it to my list and I forgot about it until I saw somebody post it the other day, and I'm like, holy cow, I need one of those. I don't know if it's like fuzzy at all. It kind of looks like it could be a little fuzzy, but I think it looks so cool. I love the light green center as well, and the dark green on the outside with the pink. That one is very beautiful. I don't know how finicky of a begonia this one is, like if it would require more humidity. I don't really do well with terrarium begonias, but maybe it would do fine in ambient conditions. But yeah, that one's really cool. I love the look of that one. And next up is a begonia species called Black Blood. And this is one that I almost got this year as well, but I didn't because I held off. I had one in my cart and I almost hit like the trigger to buy it. And I'm like, you know what? I need to hold off because I'm not great with begonias and I want to make sure I can properly care for it before I get it. I'm trying to be more intentional with that. But yeah, I think this one's cool. It's just like a very dark looking purple, black. I mean, come on, that is a stunning begonia. That is so, so pretty. And even the flowers, look at that. That's like bright red. I do think this is a terrarium begonia though, so it would need specific conditions. So that is going to be on my on my list probably for a bit until I know I can feel comfortable growing it. But yeah, that's it on begonia, I think. Who knows? I may see one and add it to my list. Let's move on to alocasia. So alocasia, I only have 3 because I got so many wishlist alocasia this year. First up is a pink venom, and I will not be getting this one anytime soon. I have no idea what the cost of a pink venom runs. I'm sure it has a pretty hefty price tag. I saw one recently on Instagram and I fell in love with it. But yeah, this one is going to be a hard wait on this plant before I would get one. But it is so cool. Look at that pink. I am a sucker for pink plants, pink alocasia, pink variegated plants, just you name it. Yeah, pink venom would be pretty cool to have. I love my venom, so I mean, come on, look how pretty that is. Oh my gosh, look at that. Look how pretty. It's so cool. It is absolutely stunning. That would be so cool to own one day. But yeah, not anytime soon. The next alocasia is a mellow variegated, and I have been toying with getting this one, I feel like all year. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. I do have Maharani alba, which I do love, and I got that one in June of this year, and it's slowly starting to size up, but it's still very much a baby, I would consider it. And I think the mellow is so cool with that texture. I had mentioned this recently in a video, do I really need a mellow if I already have a Maharani? And several of you said, yes, you need both. So I think I do want one. So maybe next year I'll bring a mellow in. I've never actually owned a mellow, but I think the texture is really cool on it. And of course I love the variegation. So a mellow albo, I do see in my collection for next year, but I'm gonna wait on that. I feel like the price on those have come down quite a bit, but they're still up there, but definitely not as expensive as they were earlier in the year last year. Cause I remember looking at some and they were like $800–900, and now they're like probably $300–400 unless you get a TC. I think I've seen TCs for like around 100 or so. But yeah, I think I do want a mellow. And then the last alocasia on my list is I don't know how to pronounce this one either. It's a Sedinii alocasia variegated. I do believe there are a couple types. There's one that has more pink variegation and one that has more aria variegation. I do think the pink is less common. I've mostly seen me aria when I've been browsing for these, but I do think it is a beautiful alocasia. It reminds me a little bit of Watsoniana with the veining. I don't know exactly what this alocasia is. It's a hybrid of Cuprea and Longaloba Lowie. Okay. I didn't know it had Cuprea in it, but I guess I do see that with the leaf shape. Maybe that's why I like it, because I love Alocasia Cuprea. It kind of looks like a Watsoniana to me though. Yeah, it is a beautiful alocasia. I love that. I do see that one coming into my collection next year for sure. And yeah, that's it for my alocasia wish list. All right, let's move on to Hoyas. Now Hoyas, again, I have crossed a lot off this past year, and I feel like Hoyas, they're just never ending because I'm so into Hoya right now. Sometimes I see one and I just like, I have to have it. And then I do a search for it and try to look for it because I want it like right then and there. But some of the Hoyas can be very expensive, like some of these rare varieties. Okay, first up is the Hoya Teddy Bear Variegated. And I came across this one earlier this year. I don't know how, like, I feel like this one would be very hard to get right now. I haven't really seen it for sale. I saw an image. This is the image that I fell in love with. I will put it on the screen here. But I think it's just the color of it. It is so freaking beautiful. I love the shape too and the veining. I just am a sucker for anything pink variegated. Like that one here, that leaf, that is so freaking pretty. Yeah, I feel like that one would be a hard one to get right now. I'm sure it has a pretty hefty price tag on it, but it's one that I want eventually. I will just drool over it for the time being. Another one is Hoya Candy. I think I want this one as well. I love the pink on it, but I don't know. This is like questionable, maybe. I recently, or a few months ago, got Hoya Swiffer's Nightmare, and I feel like it has a little bit of the same variegation pattern. I do really like the sun stressing on this one and how pink and beautiful it can be. Oh my gosh, look at that. I mean, come on. That looks like a... See, now this photo makes me want it. I feel like I have to have it. Look how pretty that is. That is so unique. I mean, come on. The pink and green on that. Holy moly, that doesn't even look like a real plant. It's like hot pink. That is beautiful. I don't know if the Swiffer's Nightmare will sunstress like that. That is a very beautiful. So I do feel like I kind of want it, maybe. Another one that is a maybe is one called Hoya Snowman. It's one I came across recently, and I love the silver on this one. I love the leaf shape and everything. I'll put like the specific one that I was looking at. I feel like there are some that look different, like the leaf shape looks different, the color looks different. So I don't know if it's like a lighting thing or there are like true differences between different specimens. But that picture of this Hoya, I feel like I have to have it. That is beautiful. I feel like there's just certain specimens that speak to me more than others. But yeah, that one here is to die for. I love the splash on that and the coloring. So I kind of want that one. Whoops, I had to change my battery. I have been talking for too long. Next up on the list is, yeah, Hoya Solowesiana albo. I don't know how to pronounce that. This one I actually almost got recently over Black Friday, but I held off. I had it in my cart and everything. I found someone who was selling like a decent sized specimen, but I decided no, because I got so many Hoya cuttings and stuff recently. I like this one for the blooms. I think the blooms are so pretty on it. And yeah, I mean, look at the bloom on that. That is so cool. I want the blooms. It's beautiful. I like the albo version compared to just the regular all green form because again, I love variegated foliage. And so having the variegated foliage with those blooms, I think, are the blooms the same on the variegated versus the non-variegated? They might be different, I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, I don't know. I don't know if the blooms are different, but they're so cool. They're so pretty. They're like fuzzy. I love fuzzy blooms. But yeah, I think the Hoya itself is really pretty. I love the albo on the leaves, like the variegation. So I may be tempted to just get a cutting next year, but this one still I feel like has a decent price tag for a cutting. I feel like the ones that I've seen for sale are like 125, 150, 180 to 200 plus just for a cutting of this one. So definitely still pricey. I haven't seen that many people selling it when I've done searches of this plant. I do really like that one and I do want to add it to my collection. Next up is Hoya Argentea picta, and this one is a maybe. I do really like the silver and the albo on this one, but I feel like it's one of those that is going to grow very slowly, which I don't mind. But I'm trying to decide if it's really worth it. I do think it's a pretty Hoya. I have the Argentea Princess, which I really like, which mine is reverting now, so I'm gonna have to chop that one. But the Argentea picta has a different look. It has the like silver on the inside and the albo on the outside. But again, it's like one of those, since I have the Argentea Princess, do I really need the picta? They do look different. I am worried about this one going more ghost or albo. I have seen some for sale with some pretty ghosty looking leaves. So I am a little hesitant with that, but I do think the silver on it is pretty, but I don't know if I need that one. I'm not as like wanting that one as much as some of these other ones. And the last Hoya that I currently have on my list is a Calympsiorum, but it is a specific kind. It has to be very dark and I want it very splashy. I don't want like a regular all green form. And I have been searching for this Hoya for at least 3 to 4 months now, and I have not come across a specimen that has spoken to me. I have seen some for sale, but it's just not the right specimen that I want. I have seen one for sale that was not in this country, so I couldn't get it. But I do really like it. I feel like it's going to take a very specific specimen for me to bring this one in. I got the Acha dragon egg, and that has quickly become one of my favorite Hoyas because I love the veining on that. But this one is going to be another one of those like very veiny Hoyas, and I just think the larger leaf on it is really pretty and the look of that. So I am still on the look for a very specific specimen of that one. So yeah, that is my wish list for 2026. I feel like it was a lot, but it wasn't. I feel like I've been talking for a while. I'm very curious how long this video is going to be. There is a lot of plants on here, so I don't know how many of these would actually I would bring into my collection, because I'm at a point now where I do still have a lot of plants that I am looking to downsize for the rest of the winter. I want to go through my Anthurium and downsize and some other plants. I have downsized quite a bit of especially philodendron. I think I want to continue to downsize in order for me to bring in like more plants I really want to grow and care for. Let me know down below what your wish list plants are for 2026 and what you're interested in bringing into your collection. I would love to go through them and read everyone's comments. I'm not exactly sure when this video will be up. If it's up before the new year or even after, just Happy New Year. Thank you so much for spending another year here, and I appreciate every one of you. Wishing us all good planty vibes for next year. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me today and looking at all these pretty plants. And yeah, I will talk to you again in the new year.